keep the awareness going. And I really love what your presenter have stated as it relates to who is a possible quote-unquote pedophile. The word pedophile needs to be used as well, and that is something that our community needs to know. Our parents need to be educated, and the best weapon against pedophiles is education, education, education. That's what I stress a lot of times over the years when I've been invited numerous times to the Department of Human Services Head Start Centers, where we conduct our child molestation workshops and what have you. So I must say that the public should really take this very serious because, again, we don't know who among us are pedophiles. And as you know, like I heard someone says, they probably thought the person had like a trench coat or something to that effect, but the pedophile could be anyone. And I'm happy that the presenters explained the different professions that pedophiles do occupy. So again, on behalf of my wife Anita and myself of Love Care Television and Radio Production, I'd like to commend you as well as Slick, you the DJ, and stuff like that. And yes, and having these individuals appear in your program to again educate the public, and most of all, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to educate the community as well. So take care.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your call.
Sure, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, 773 FM. If you want to weigh in on the conversation, give us a call. 773-3636. Now, I want to ask them, who do you think, if you, and I don't want to get into the blame game or the point, but who do you think is responsible?
Who do I think is responsible?
Yeah.
They probably will put me off the radio after this, but I really think that we have, it goes back so far that we don't even know who to blame anymore. You know what I mean? It comes up from slavery. It comes up from power and control, which is the bottom line. It comes up from people trying to have control over people, because the greatest way to break somebody's spirit is to rape them. You know what I mean? And we don't think of it like that. Physically rape them, emotionally rape them, mentally rape them, financially rape them is just to rape them. And it comes home when it becomes a physical thing. You know what I mean? So if I can break your body, I can break your spirit as well, or at least that's the thought. Because pain is inflicted. You know what I mean? And not necessarily crucial physical pain, but emotional pain. So I feel like I don't have a say. And so the blame game, and we're going to take the call.
We got somebody calling. R95.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So good afternoon again. I want to commend the Women's Coalition for putting on this radio talk show. But I have a question for Ms. Thornhill. If I was a parent and my child was molested, what is the procedure? Who do I call? What do you do, and what takes place? Because people need to understand that.
If your child was molested, you can go to the police station to make a report. The police can contact us. Take the child to the hospital to be examined by a doctor as soon as you know or find out or are aware of the situation. You let them know. You take them to the emergency room or the private doctor. And then the call will be made to Human Services and someone will come out. Now, if they're at the hospital will contact Human Services, and a social worker will come in to investigate the case. So if someone believes that their child has been molested, they can call 911, make the report, and the police will handle it from there. Or they can come to the Department of Human Services, Office of Intake and Emergency Services, and make the complaint.
Okay. And I know that another thing too that is a big question that a lot of people have. What happens to the parents? If you have a parent that doesn't believe and it's found that the child has been molested, are there any ways for the child to become safe from the parents? Because sometimes, like you said earlier, the parents will, don't talk about that, we're going to leave that alone. And then the child goes to school, and to get into mandatory reporters, you know, the child goes to school and then the school sees that their behavior is changing and they see that something's going on. So then what is your role in dealing with the parent that's not believing?
Once again, if the child is known, and we can go to the school. We don't need permission from anyone. Once there's an allegation involved or a case has been reported, and by law we go out and investigate. We don't need no parent's permission to go into the school to interview the child or to speak with the child. We don't need permission from the parents.
So you can walk up at school and
Yes,
and
we
just
can
and deal
speak
with
to
the
the
business.
children, yes.
Okay,
And we
okay.
can remove the child. The child don't even have to go back home. And we'll make provisions for that child to make sure, or to ensure that child's safety.
Okay. And I know that sounds very unfair to some people, but you know, when it comes to child victims, we have to protect the child. And a lot of times we don't want to believe that it's happening, or it's going to cause a lot of confusion because it's going to change a lot of dynamics. But we do need to talk about it. What is it that's more important? Is your child's innocence being lost more important than your family image? And a lot of times in weighing it in the balance, is like, okay, but I need to eat. My child needs to eat. This is the only way for me to get food. You know, and so I know that turns itself into another set of problems for the family.
Yes.
And then, of course, children are still innocent, and they do love their parents. And
Yes,
sometimes they
they
even
do.
love the perpetrator,
Yes.
but they just don't like what's happening.
Exactly.
And so we have to be able to stop it from happening.
Yes.
And so how do you all continue to provide service for them during this time?
We provide services for them. We provide counseling for parents. And sometimes if the parents are in need of other things, we are able to assist the parents. We don't just remove children from the home and there's no type of parental involvement. The goal is to get the family back together and assist in keeping families together. So as long as the families are cooperative and the judge puts certain things in place, if we go to court, we work with the family. And we have counseling services. We send them to the Women's Coalition, or we send them to Island Therapy. And they have a lot of private providers that can provide counseling to the children and families. So not only individual counseling, but family counseling and family therapy.
All right. Can I ask a question real quick? Now, I want some parents to weigh in. Does anybody have any stories out there, or feel like maybe, because I think that people might hear the process, get anxiety about going through that process, or so I would like for some parents to call in right now and chime in. Are there any parents out there listening right now would like to say, hey, listen, we don't really want to go that way, or we want to do anything, we want to do something, different, or can we go at it like this, and just want to open up the dialogue for people, because I don't want to say, hey, listen, if this happened, this is what's going to happen, and if you want to report it, you have to report it like this. I think we should try and open up more ways for them to come and speak with you.
And then you have to understand that we live in a small community. Everybody knows everybody. So
Absolutely.
you have that fear of, if I report this, what the people are going to think about.
And there's nothing for you to turn to your coworker and say, hey, and once you that goes from one person to the next person to the next person. It's only one, it's only one conversation with one person, but it then turns into 300 and 300,000 conversations. Then it's public knowledge.
For that, we can thank Facebook for that.
We can thank the media on the whole for
way
that.
before Facebook, we gossip. Long before Facebook, we gossip. Very melee. People pong melee every day.
Around like lightning.
And I'm going to ask you about mandatory reporters before we wrap up. But one of the things about the pong and melee is that we always pong melee about the wrong thing.
True.
We never talk about the things that we need to talk about. We talk about everything else except the things we need to talk about. And then we will talk about the things that are causing people to be in pain and seeing people get hurt and then not do anything. So what's the purpose of pong and melee? But anyway, on to mandatory reporters. Who are the mandatory reporters?
Teachers, medical doctors, daycare workers, social services workers, law enforcement. Anybody who suspect a reasonable, if they have a suspicion, you can always make a report in good faith. Does the law protect you? Yes. Now we have some people that make reports and they'll call back the next week, and then they'll let you know that I didn't see nobody come to the house. So they actually looking to see if somebody come. So there are restrictions that if you report in and it's a false, you can have imprisonment up to a year and a fine of $500. But if you report it in good faith, you need not to worry because you can remain anonymous, but not mandated reporters. Mandated reporters have to make the call